Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, it's Dennis with TSANet. Welcome to the TSANet introduction webinar. We've got a lot of people registered up today and there's several that are still joining. So we'll get started here in just a minute. I want to give those folks a chance to sometimes download that app and get that thing going. Also, I doubt we'll probably take up the whole half hour here, so we should have plenty of time. So give me just say another minute or so here and we'll get the webinar started. Okay, let me get sharing our screen. We've still got a few people coming in, but we'll go ahead and get started. We are going to record this, by the way, so you will be able to share this internally if you elect to do so. Here we go. And what I'm going to do, there's actually several slides here. A lot of these are backup slides, and I'm not going to run through all the different slides. This really presentation is kind of split up into two sections. One of them is kind of giving you the high level of TSANet, which has become important because there's turnover in support departments, and TSANet is not a high volume thing. It never has been. So I think it's kind of important for everybody to get of the, oh yeah, I've heard of this, but how do I use it? So we'll go through kind of high level about the organization and what we're about. And then I'm going to go in and show you the tactical side of this. So how you would actually engage and work with another member company. And we'll walk through that. Again, we're recording these. So if you want to send these out to anybody else, or you certainly have any questions, you can contact us, and I'll take some time here at the end of this to answer any questions that you might have, and you can use your panel to raise your hand on it. So let me walk through this, a couple of slides that I referred to. I think I always start almost every presentation out with this particular slide, and that is to give you kind of a level set on what this is all about. TSANet is a not-for-profit organization that's now actually over 25 years old. And we started out with the mission of being an organization that was set up by the industry and for the industry to establish a collaboration and relationship path between the member companies, which is why it's called an alliance. We started out again with that, and it's remained exactly with that scope and goal in mind. As a not-for-profit, we don't have that motivation. I report to a board of directors that's elected by the members. And we're very member driven in what we're doing, especially nowadays. You're going to see shortly in the next quarter or so, a lot of things that we're doing. It was all requested by the members. So again, by being part of this organization, you're part of that, and we really value your feedback and what you can bring to TSANet. If there was a couple of key points that I would put in on the organization. One, understand that we're again a vendor neutral infrastructure. We're not tied into one particular company, but it's a way for you to quickly establish a relationship with other members that are part of TSANet. And the way that we've done that is what we've done is we have got all these companies legal teams to agree to a common set of verbiage about how you're going to handle confidential information if you're collaborating with another member, how you're going to handle intellectual property. All of that kind of stuff is put into what we call a code of conduct. Every member company, regardless of what member level they come into, agree to that same code of conduct. So what that does is that establishes, from a legal perspective, a base set of documents that says, okay, all the stuff that I typically get hung up on as far as how I'm treating this confidential information and this and that has already been established, and it allows you to go in and either use an existing relationship infrastructure of whether this is a 24/7 relationship, an 8 to 5, or what is the relationship that I have with the other partners that are part of this, or if I want to create my own relationship, I can do that. Well, I have another slide that will actually talk to that. And then we've also established this operational infrastructure. So everybody's got one place to go to see how they're going to collaborate, one place to go to update that information, which can make it sounds very simple, but quite honestly can make it very easy, because sometimes you're asked to do things, okay, well, if it's this company, I got to go in and I got to use this portal and use this user ID and password, and if it's this company, I got to do something different. What this does is give everybody one place to go to see how to do that, which can be very important when you're trying to work a multi-vendor issue. If I boil this down into a very simple graphic, this is what TSANet's all about. You've got an issue where you've determined that you need to work with another member company. That member or that other company is a member of TSANet, so you're able to go in and collaborate under the TSANet framework, whether that be through the member web. We do have the ability for you to do that electronically, and we've got connectors into CRM systems like Salesforce. That all is getting ready to change into what we call TSANet Connect and by member request. So I'm not going to get into the case exchange piece of it, but be aware that the electronic piece of this is something that we do work with, and we do work with our member companies on that. But the point of this is to then, whatever that mechanism is for you to be able to collaborate back and forth, we establish that mechanism through TSANet. You're able to operate under that framework and not finger point the customer around. So it gives you that ability to work with that other company, not start the case all over again, not fumble around with where do I need to go, who would I need to call, how do I need to escalate, all that kind of stuff. You're able to do that through TSANet. That's the value add that we're bringing into the organization. This is the next to the last slide to give you an idea of the membership levels. And this is important to understand if you're not familiar with TSANet and your company and what level of membership that they have within the organization. You're going to fall into either the left or the right-hand side of the equation here. And it's either going to be that you're an open group member or that you're part of what we call a custom group, or typically a partner program. When we started the organization, the history behind this was that you could come into this big ecosystem and everybody was part of it. So that established itself as what we call open group membership, which then morphed itself into this basic and premium level TSANet. So it's basically an ecosystem of, in the basic TSANet, it's about 100-something companies. And you can come into that, and if you're part of that and the other member company is part of that, you've already established a relationship. And then we kind of morph that out a little bit to say, well, that's pretty good, but sometimes I need something that is at a higher level where I know that I've got a commitment from that company on a 24/7 basis, on a global scale, with essentially enterprise level SLAs. I know I'm going to get a response back. And so a bunch of companies decided, well, let's use that same infrastructure and we'll call it the premium TSANet. So you basically, in the open group environment, you've got the basic TSANet and you have the premium TSANet. Be aware that the premium TSANet is a subset of the basic TSANet. But in order for all that to work, where you get all these companies involved in it, you got to establish some kind of guidelines to make sure that it's okay for that to happen. So what we say in any of these open group environments is that there has to be a mutual customer involved, which means that typically there is an entitlement involved in that customer. So no one is required or obligated to work with another member company in this open group environment unless there is a mutual customer that is entitled for support. Which means, well, you're not going to, so you don't have to worry about whether you're going to get barraged with phone calls from other member companies because you're part of the alliance in the open group environment, because you're getting a phone call one way or another. It's just that through TSANet, you're getting it from another member company that your customer called first. And in the premium TSANet, you're not obligated to respond back to those companies on a 24/7 basis and at that enterprise level SLAs unless the customer is entitled to that level of support. So there's nothing here that is obligating the company beyond what you're already obligated to with your customer. It's just that we're saying, as being part of this alliance in the open group environment, that you're able to collaborate with those companies under this framework. Okay, and I'm going to show you how that call is placed here in just a minute. As part of the other membership area, what we did was the members actually came to us and said, well, that's great. You got this open group thing that solves about 90% of my problems. What I need now is I need the ability for me to pull in my partners, or I've got a solution that I have with a couple of partners that is very strategic, and I don't maybe have that requirement for a mutual customer because I already know who the customer is. Or maybe I still want to have that, but I want to, after I've done a development thing with a bunch of my partners, I need to be able to know that I've got a support collaboration process in place with them in case they need it. So what we did was we came back and said, okay, you can use the same legal structure that we've already got set up for the open groups, except you're going to be able to host that relationship. You're going to be able to pick and choose the companies that are partners, and you're going to be able to choose the elements of that relationship. So it's really fallen into these three categories of it could be a strategic partner relationship where it's a small many-to-many, invitation-only type thing. It could be that I've got hundreds of partners out there that I need to make sure that after I get through the development, I've got that support mechanism in place. So I'm going to pull all of my partners into a single group so that from the host perspective, it's a one-to-many. And from the partner's perspective, it's a simple one-to-one relationship. Or it could be in the channel environment where I've got that. I'm just establishing that support mechanism in a collaborative environment under this vendor-neutral structure from a legal perspective and from an operational perspective. This just gives you the member levels, and all the slides beyond this are basically a lot of backup slides and things like that. I'm not gonna PowerPoint you guys to death here. What I want to do is I want to go into the member web and show you that. So this is kind of outside of the case exchange environment where the electronic thing, I'm not really going to touch on that so much. But what I do want to do is give you an idea about how you would use TSANet. So this is TSANet.org. If you're not familiar with it, without having a login, and we can certainly get you a login if you need that. But if you don't know what kind of membership level you have, you can go to TSANet.org, click on members, and it'll actually tell you what kind of what level of membership that you have. For demonstration purposes, I've actually logged in here as Dell EMC. So what I've done is I've come into TSANet.org. I've got a login that I come in here, and now what I can do is I can click on my relationships, and I can see all the different companies that as a member of TSANet I can engage and I can work with. Now in this particular case, and I use this as an example, this could be because I'm a premium member in the case of Dell EMC. I also pull in a lot of companies that become what we call limited members that have that one-to-one relationship that I was referring to, and I'll kind of show you how that works. But a lot of different ways that I can get into TSANet. But the example would be, okay, I got an issue that's come in. I'm kind of stuck at this. I need to go and I need to engage Cisco in order to figure out how to resolve this issue. So what I can do is, as an engineer, I can come down here, I can click on Cisco, and what it's going to do is it's going to pull up. In this case, there could be different relationships because I'm a premium member. It's showing me that I've got, okay, I can use the premium TSANet here in the global support environment, or This is through merger and acquisition activity. I've got these companies down here. It may be a different process behind it. But when I click on this, it's going to take me to what I call a contact document. And this is basically going to be a process that this company wants you to follow in the relationship that you share with them. So it's really kind of split up, and all the contact documents are basically split up into these categories. You got it in the top up here, before you call me, because in this environment, and I'm in the basic or premium TSANet relationship, then I'm requiring that there be a mutual customer involved in this. So what do I need to get from that mutual customer before you engage me? This is the information I need you to capture about that. Okay, and then here in this, and I picked one that's one of the more, I'll say complex, or at least it's kind of lengthy, because there's a lot of different things that are going on here within Cisco, but they're basically telling you this is how I want you to engage me, right? And there could be different variables and things like that that are happening. And there could be multiple ways for that to happen. A lot of these you're going to see very simplified into, here's the people I need you to talk to. Here's a support address that I want you to get a hold of. Okay, but it's also at the very bottom of this is you're also going to find an escalation process. So this is something that if you just picked up the phone and called, you wouldn't necessarily get. If there's an issue with that call and you need to engage the other company because something didn't work, then you've got an escalation path to follow down there. And if that doesn't work, you can contact TSANet. Our job is to make sure that everybody is collaborating in the environment that they said that they would. Okay, and again, I could give you multiple examples here. I'll actually, without digging in too much here, go to one of the other more complicated companies. We can go to IBM just to give you an idea. And they split it out not only by product group that participates, but they also split it out by geo. So you could run into a situation where you have multiple different product groups that you can engage through TSANet. Okay, I want to show you the other thing here, which has to do with the custom groups, just to give you an idea of what can be done here. So in this case, what Dell EMC came back to us on was, hey, I've got a bunch of partners that I work with, and I want to establish that support relationship with them and make sure that I've got that as part of the partner program. So what they've done is they've come in and created a custom group. They set out to their partners, hey, whether you're a member of TSANet or not, I want you to come into my custom group. If you're an open or a basic or a premium member, there's no cost involved in it. If you're not a member of TSANet, you can come in as a limited member for either a very small cost, or in some cases, a lot of times the host will actually pay for the membership. So from the host perspective, this is a one-to-many relationship. So if I come in here, I can actually see through this program, here's all the member companies that are part of this particular program. Now, if I was to log in as one of the partners, I wouldn't see all of these companies. I would only see the host. So it's, again, a very easy way for you to be able to come in. We actually make it easy for you to even register. This is a different program through VMware that I can come in and come into this landing page if I'm not a TSANet member, and come in and actually register automatically through this automated process that's done for all of my partners. So very simple type of thing to do. Give you, again, an idea of some of the different things that you can do within TSANet. So let me go back to my slides here again. I'll walk through part of this a little bit, and if you've got any questions, you certainly are more than welcome to bring those up. Let me get my PowerPoint up. All right, let me walk through some of these, get back to where I was at. So again, those are your membership levels. And then again, all of this, if you want, and Stephanie will actually be sending out slides, and we'll include this entire deck with it, but it gets into different levels about the framework and what we do. Again, it's basically all backup slides to what you've already seen here. We get into case exchange, talk about that a little bit. as well as solution support. This is, again, something that I've seen more and more companies start to utilize in the custom group environment, where they've got a solution that they're putting out, and they pulled in strategic partners that are part of that solution. And they're just using TSANet to use that as a collaboration mechanism and platform behind it. Okay. Let me see if I've got any questions. And again, wanted to keep this pretty simple to everybody. Let's see if I do have something here. Okay, got people from around the world looking at this. Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, it doesn't look like I have anything else. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes back of your half hour. Again, more than welcome to contact us. Membership at TSANet.org would be the easiest way to get a hold of us. And we appreciate you joining us today. Thanks very much, everybody.